A chance of snow flurries on Friday. It's a possibility over northern Arkansas, but what about central Arkansas? I'll have answers coming up next.
A checklist for your car when it comes to the cold weather. I'm Jill Sagata. Coming up, I'll share with you what experts say you need to keep in mind.
Some Arkansas veterinary clinics are experiencing a vet shortage. I'm Brooke Buckner, and I'll show you the plans to help with it coming up.
Good evening. This is a live look at the natural state as we head into the evening rush hour.
Yeah, it's headed over the river. I don't know how many people are headed to grandmother's house. We're a week out from that, but flurries are expected tomorrow. We'll check and see if that could impact your rush hour. That's coming up in just a minute.
But first, we begin with a story trending on THV11 tonight. Police are investigating a smash and grab robbery at a Little Rock jewelry store.
THV11's Ian Russell has been digging into what happened. As it turns out, business robberies had been trending down over the past few decades, but have suddenly spiked in the last year.
I started working at the Little Rock Police Department in 1995.
Major Casey Clark with the Little Rock Police Department has seen a lot in the past 27 years.
25, 30 years ago, it was pretty commonplace for individuals and businesses to be victims of robbery or crime.
But as time moves on, the types of crimes can change. That doesn't mean that robberies can't happen, though.
It is an oddity for something like this to occur.
He's talking about robbing a jewelry store. Around 6:45 Wednesday night, Sissy's Log Cabin at the Promenade at Chenal was robbed. According to police reports, 7 males wearing hoodies, gloves, and face masks entered the business. The report goes on to say the suspects used hammers to strike and shatter the glass cases. All 7 suspects then proceeded to grab an unknown amount of assorted fine jewelry from the cases. In a statement, Sissy's Log Cabin told THV11, "We regret to inform our customers that we had an incident at our West Little Rock store with what we refer to in the industry as a smash and grab." That statement continues saying, "We are also working with Promenade management and making sure this incident does not happen again."
So we've seen an uptick so far this year.
Mark Edwards, spokesperson for LRPD, says while the numbers of business robberies have trended down since the 90s, partially due to a more cashless approach at stores, there has been a recent jump.
103 so far this year have been business robberies, whereas last year, I think only 67 were business robberies. So we've seen that uptick over the year.
And as we head into a busy holiday shopping season, both Edwards and Major Clark are encouraging caution.
That is definitely the goal, is for none of this to happen. However, we are aware that we can't be everywhere all the time, but we can be where we need to be. And so if we can deter some crime, that's a good thing for us.
In Little Rock, Ian Russell, THV11 News.
And as you can hear from that, it sounds like LRPD needs your help to find these thieves. If you have any information about what happened, you're encouraged to call their anonymous tip line, 501-371-4646.
And tonight we're getting a first look at body camera footage of the arrest of 2 Razorback football players. Miles Slusher and Anthony Brown were both arrested in downtown Fayetteville on November 6th, charged with disorderly conduct. Fayetteville police released this video, which shows an officer approaching Brown in an attempt to get him out of the street. Brown tries to get the officer's hand off of him, and then the officer takes Brown to the ground to handcuff him. In the scramble, police say Miles Slusher stepped in to try to get the officer off of Brown, and he was also pinned down and handcuffed. The 2 men were both arrested and booked into the Washington County Jail and were also suspended for last weekend's game against LSU. Tonight at 6, we'll hear from the player's attorney, who says his client should not have been charged.
Well, at the top, I mentioned a few snow flurries that could fall across parts of Arkansas, northern Arkansas, mainly early tomorrow, but we will have colder air moving in and cloudy skies. Wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of snow flurries tomorrow as well. We'll go over that in a minute. The coldest morning statewide so far of this fall season. It feels like winter outside. Look at Little Rock. We bottomed out at 25. It was 18 in Clinton. It was 25 in Hot Springs. Pine Bluff 26. Not nearly as cold tonight, but it is going to feel rather chilly out there. We're at 50 in Little Rock currently, 50 in Conway, 44 Harrison. There is a frontal boundary that will move through the state tonight. That's going to provide us with cloud cover and even just a little bitty chance of some snow flurries over the northern part of Arkansas. These are your early morning temperatures. We'll bottom out about 30 here in Little Rock. Cloud cover may prevent us from falling any more than that. And then the weekend ahead. If you're making plans, plan on it to be cold, especially Saturday up in Fayetteville for the Razorbacks and Ole Miss. We'll talk about Thanksgiving and give you an idea as to what you can expect. Maybe a little rain. Right now, we'll go back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you. Car troubles can be a headache at any time, but AAA says it's officially that time of year where they get a lot of calls from people stuck on the side of the road. THV11's Jalissa Garza joins us now with what you can do to prevent that from happening to you. Jalissa.
Being stuck on the side of the road can be scary and stressful, but there's different things you can do starting today to make sure your car is winter ready.
Dead or disabled batteries. Those types of calls can account for about 30% of all of our call volume throughout the winter months.
Nick Chabaria with AAA says those calls usually don't start coming in until December, but this year it's different.
November calls have been up compared to this time last year.
And it's not just batteries causing trouble for drivers.
Flat tires or even low tire pressure this time of year is a big one.
Dee Coleman is the owner of Coleman & Son Automotive in Little Rock. He says a lot of customers are being proactive before the real chill sets in.
We've seen an influx of customers come in and get those tires topped off.
Batteries and tires are important, but Coleman says there are other things you want to keep an eye on.
You have your water pumps, your radiators, things like that do malfunction in the colder winter months.
Especially because some of those mechanical parts are harder to get a hold of right now.
We've seen 2 weeks back order, and we've seen 6 months back order. It just depends on the part.
Coleman says they expect to get busier in the next coming months, but advise drivers that now is the time to make sure your car is good to go.
So if it's 30 degrees now and it becomes 20 degrees, that tire can lose a pound of pressure.
Coleman says other ways you can be prepared is by keeping antifreeze and a set of jumper cables in your car so you're ready for the unexpected. Broly.
Melissa, thank you. A nationwide veterinarian shortage is hitting some clinics here in Arkansas. According to the State Vets Medical Association, this is a problem that only got worse during the pandemic. As THV11's Brooke Buckner shows us, there are plans to fix the issue, but it might take a while.
There's certainly a noticeable change, a noticeable decrease in the number of veterinarians available.
Dr. Paul Noble says he's not currently searching for vets to join his team at Bryant Veterinary Clinic, but he knows finding them is a challenge.
Through word of mouth, yes, I've heard that it's relatively hard to find.
Dr. Noble says he notices the problem when he tries to take vacations.
It is hard to find relief vets, harder than it was.
And he says some people even come out of retirement to help out.
A friend of theirs might have needed help, which they didn't anticipate, and they're glad to do it on a short-term basis.
According to the Arkansas Veterinary Medical Association, there are lots of reasons for the shortage, including more vets retiring or choosing to work fewer hours.
There may be some now, more so than when I started years ago, that are looking more for part-time work instead of full-time, and so that's part of it.
He also says the demand is higher now.
When people are willing to do so much more for their pets, it means that there's just more things to do, so that we need more of us to do those things.
Lyon College plans to bring a veterinary school to Little Rock right here in the Heifer International Building. Lyon's president tells me this could help keep more Arkansans in the state working as vets after graduation.
When they go to these professional schools, they tend to stay and practice where they train.
Melissa Taberner says the school will fill a big need because Arkansas doesn't have its own veterinary medical school.
It made a lot of sense for us, Lyon College and our partners in Little Rock, to think about what are the things that we could do to help alleviate some of these stressors in the industry. And the clearest thing is to support veterinary education in Arkansas.
Brooke Buckner, THV11 News.
Brooke, thank you. There's no set date for when that Lyon Veterinary School will open, but Taberner expects to start enrolling students in the next 2 to 3 years. The post office is also struggling to find enough people to hire, especially as the holiday shipping season takes off. They're on a hiring spree right now, hoping to avoid a repeat of last year's disruptions that we all experienced during the height of the pandemic.
The White House continues to face legal challenges to the Biden administration's proposal to cancel billions in student debt. Right now, it's hung up in the courts and not clear if it will go through. About 20 million were eligible for relief. The plan would cancel $10,000 for most applicants or $20,000 for Pell Grant recipients. Republican leaders in Congress called the proposed plan an unfair handout for the wealthy.
A month ago, the Biden administration decided to insult working Americans by unleashing yet another reckless giveaway that would actually transfer even more wealth toward highly educated people who already tend to be more well off.
If you've applied for loan forgiveness, the Department of Education will hold your application, but if you haven't signed up, you'll have to wait until the final verdicts are in.
An end of an era on Capitol Hill as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she will not pursue a leadership role when the next session of Congress convenes in January. The move comes a day after it became clear Republicans will be in the majority. Speaker Pelosi blazed trails on Capitol Hill over her 35 years there. In her speech, she called this a time for younger leadership to take over. Right now, it appears the Speaker's gavel will move from one California representative to another. Kevin McCarthy will be nominated, though it's not yet clear if he has support from all of the GOP members yet.
From brunch to barbecue, a closer look at all the restaurants coming to Central Arkansas. In 3 minutes, Eat It Up brings you an extra scoop on the local food scene.
Mostly clear skies tonight for the International Space Station. Tell you when you can see it. Plus, we're going to take a look ahead. More cold air, a warm up, and then on down the road, maybe rain chances for Thanksgiving. We'll talk about it coming up after the break.
All right, Tom, thank you. We are nearly 1 week into modern gun deer season in Arkansas, and while the sport is fun, game and fish leaders are reminding hunters of one missed safety step that killed one Johnson County man last month.
Yeah, the Tree Stand Manufacturers Association says 1 out of every 3 hunters will have a fall from their tree stand at some point. And here's how you can prevent it. Wear a full body safety harness anytime you're using a tree stand, from the time you leave the ground until the time you're back on the ground at the end of your hunt.
The Game and Fish Commission says last year 26 people were hospitalized for hunting-related accidents. 13 were hurt after falling from a tree stand. 4 of those falls were fatal. Leaders continue to emphasize safety when going above.
And a lot of times people will fall the wrong way. They'll fall on their head or their neck or somewhere that causes serious injury. So that is something to keep in mind as well. Even a short height can lead to a fatality.
Game and Fish adds the Tree Stand Manufacturers Association includes safety harnesses in the packaging.
New outdoor spaces are coming to Argenta. What you can expect to pop up in North Little Rock when THV11 News continues.
Folks can expect a new look for Main Street Argenta in downtown North Little Rock.
Yeah, this is an idea that came to life during the pandemic. It's going to replace some parking for outdoor public spaces. They're called parklets. It brings dining and outdoor seating along the Main Street corridor. Organizers say it started at the beginning of 2020 when everybody was looking for outdoor dining options more regularly.
I think it's just going to enhance what we've already done down here. It just gives people more space to spread out a little bit and just enjoy everything that we put into the downtown Argenta area.
And organizers with the city say you can expect more additions like these parklets coming to the area as they continue to expand and redevelop in other parts of North Little Rock.
Well, the opioid epidemic continues to impact us nationwide, but for one local police officer, the story hits closer to home. Exactly 1 year ago today, Officer Tommy Norman received a call he never expected. The person on the other end explaining that his daughter, Alyssa Norman, died from a drug overdose. Tonight, we sit down with Officer Norman, who says he's working to make sure this doesn't happen to other families.
She had fought so hard with her drug addiction, and she was on her way back to the Alyssa that we all knew. So to receive that phone call on November the 17th was a shock to so many people.
Tonight at 10, Officer Norman remembers his daughter's legacy, how he's dealing with the literal heartbreak, and what happened the night Alyssa Norman passed away.
Outside, Beautiful evening shaping. I thought one of you was going to talk. There's your sunset. It looks great. Beautiful state capitol at rush hour. And tonight, right after sunset, say right after about 6:30, look up in the sky and watch the International Space Station fly on by. About 6:37, it's not going to last long. 10 degrees, real low in the sky in the west-southwest, 38 degrees in the north-northwest. So that's the way it's going to travel. Should have clear skies for that. And then, those of you heading to Fayetteville for the Razorback Ole Miss game, final home game of the season, kickoff is at 6:30. The temperature at 6:30 is going to be close to 30 degrees. Wind chill values will be in the mid-20s. You're going to need a little extra padding. Those bleachers are cold, folks. A couple of layers on the bottom might help you out.
A blanket too.
A blanket?
Any and everything. Thermostat, something. I don't know. Something.
Yeah, lots of hand warmers.
Yeah.
Yep. It's football weather, though. We're going to have updates coming up at the top of the hour. CBS Evening News is next.
It's not a bad idea.
I don't think